Technically, some parts of the train platform remain seemingly untouched. One spokesman said that it'll take years to clean up that area.
Israelis and Palestinians have agreed to resume full security cooperation. Gaza is where we begin our look around the world. Under pressure from the U.S., truce talks between Israeli President Shimon Peres and Palestinian leader Yasser Arafat ended in an agreement on a series of confidence-building measures aimed at ending a year of fighting. This happened today. Now, pressure from the U.S. to kickstart peace talks has mounted recently as the Mideast conflict threatens to get in the way of coalition-building efforts for the U.S.-led fight against international terrorism. European Union International Policy Chief Javier Solana and other European Union officials met with leaders from Iran today. The delegation is in Tehran, drumming up support for a global anti-terror coalition. Iran has repeated its position that it will join any effort against terrorism spearheaded by the United Nations, and that a campaign against terrorism has to deal with its root causes.
Well, back here at home, is it going to be pretty cool again when you walk outside tomorrow morning? Tom Seiler will be in next with your first warn forecast.
And just a little bit later on, itchy allergy eyes might mean your child's lungs are growing improperly. We're going to tell you why and what doctors are doing about it. But first, here's a look at what you're going to see tonight on Nightline.
I'm Chris Bury. Coming up on Nightline, once they were our friends, now they're enemy number one in the war on terrorism. What a difference a few years makes. Putting the squeeze on Afghanistan tonight.
Chili's Big Mouth Burgers. Do whatever it takes to get one.
Bo goes away to college this year. He needs everything for his dorm room. Fortunately, Walmart has everything. The prices are terrific, and we can give him a Walmart shopping card for the things he needs later. Do you like the light or the dark blue? Walmart is just a lifesaver for us. They have everything we need to send them off to college. More importantly, I can afford it. I think I'm more nervous than he is.
Sheriff Campbell, little Abigail here has heart disease. This time last year, she had open heart surgery.
Tammy, people like Abigail that are the reason that you and I got involved with the American Heart Association's Heart Walk.
And you can get involved, too, to help fight our nation's #1 killer. Join us at this year's walk. It'll be at Southwood, Saturday, October the 6th. Call 878-3885 to sign up.
Who knows? You may help save someone like Abigail.
Your best idea yet, Larry.
What good is beauty if it's only skin deep? The new Camry, reinvented so it's sleeker, faster, roomier, better. You're going to want one. See your local Toyota dealer.
Introducing Chili's baby back ribs. To go.
I think it's going to be about a yard short. Bring it up 4th and 1.
Get in, get out, get on with your life.
Wake up to Tom Seiler's weather on Gulf 104, Tallahassee's best rock.
Tom Seiler's weather forecast is approved by the National Weather Association.
Well, it's been 2 in a row, this beautiful weather. I think most people would like to have 10 in a row.
But there's one thing. Have you been outside in the last hour or so?
I have not.
It gets uncomfortable when it gets cold here. We're close to the water. The humidity level is up, and we're going to have to use the cold word tonight. Not cool, not chilly, cold.
Downright cold.
Yes, sir.
Skies are clear, and we've dropped down into the 50s already. Probably will break that all-time record low of 50 degrees, or certainly at least tie it. 74, our high today. Now, we had those high, thin clouds, and that shielded enough of the sunshine. We just didn't warm up to the 78 we had expected. 53 this morning, and the normals are 65 and 87, so 13 degrees below normal for a high today. 55 of an inch of rain in the surplus category for the month, 3 1/3 inches for the year, and record low on this date, 50 and 1975. 56 degrees already. The bottom's dropped out. 96% the humidity. Barometer steady. Winds are calm. Valdosta still at 58. 93% humidity, calm winds, and a steady barometer. Our sunset tomorrow evening at 7:27 as the days continue to get shorter by a minute, 2 minutes a day. Here's the neighborhood weather Doppler radar, and while we've had nice weather, the front's hung up somewhere north of Orlando, so there's still showers and thunder showers. There's plenty of that famous Florida humidity, and there's going to be even more moisture pouring in from the southwest Gulf of Mexico, and here it is. We stretch out across the Gulf. Now, the front is stretched out here. In addition, we're seeing a tropical low bulge over the Yucatan Peninsula. That has some chance of intensifying into a tropical system. Whether it does or not, it is a low-pressure system. It is going to travel up the front, and that means a heavy siege of rain for central and south Florida. We think the high pressure extends far enough south that it would keep the rain away from us. That's our thinking now. That could change. But as of now, the jet stream, the winds aloft out of the southwest, should carry anything that develops across the central and southern part of the state. And there will be tons of moisture with it. When you get a stranded front out here, the winds are blowing parallel. The little eddies form just as it would in a stream. That becomes a low-pressure system. The water out here is certainly warmer tonight than it is on land, around 83 degrees or so. So still tropical moisture. The chance of tropical activities still is with us. Not only us that's having a nice cool spell. Cool air has been drugged down from Hudson Bay on the jet stream, which dips right into the Florida Panhandle, then shoots northeastward over the Carolinas. We'll swing across the country, west, east, nice in the Rockies, super out in the plains, of a bit chilly, and over the southeast. Tomorrow morning will probably bring, not only for us, but several record-breaking low temperatures. And here's the cloud cover coming out of the southwest Gulf, across central Florida, into the Carolinas, on to Virginia and Massachusetts. We have the lows on the front, and there are several little lows forming on it, but we're expecting one larger one by the time we get to Saturday or Sunday. So tomorrow, the front's just going to sag. It's not really going to move much. The rainfall will blossom out of the central Gulf. It'll also be around this low as it moves offshore from Savannah. So we're going to have all sorts of weather just to our south and to our east. But here, I think, we're setting up for another pretty good day. We'll reach up to around 78, 80 degrees. And the cloud cover will be high and thin, and that's normal. It represents the jet stream way up at altitude, bringing moisture out of the southwest Gulf. Then tomorrow night, around 50 again, so a good chance we'll see a couple of nights where we either break or tie our record lows. So tonight, mainly clear and cold. We've revised our low down to 48 degrees. That would be an all-time record for this state. Then tomorrow, some sunshine, but high, thin clouds also, rather cool. The high 78 to 80. And here's the AccuWeather First Warn 7-day forecast, 78 to 80 for a high tomorrow. We're actually leaning a little toward the 78 since we think it's going to be cooler tonight. We had originally thought around 48, perhaps colder out in the valleys. 78 on Friday, 56 or so. Then we have a pretty good weekend until we get a chance of rain late on Sunday. And staying reasonably cool. Our normal high at this time of the year, 87. So we're seeing 10, 12, 13 degrees below normal. And let's enjoy it.
People will take the jackets to work and then shed them as the day goes on,
They'll
right?
be out there on the what is it called down there, the plaza.
With a bounce in their step, right?
Yeah, with a bounce and step, twinkle in their eye, and a brown bag sandwich in their hand.
Frolicking, right?
They're going to be frolicking. Good.
Thanks,
Thank you, Tom.
Well, next in sports, coaches Bowden and Joe talk FSU and FAMU football, plus your only complete local look at all the scores on the 27 Sports Line.
And the Heisman Trophy presentation may be moving. The complete story is next in sports on ABC News Channel 27, where news is first.
At some places, chicken nuggets are manufactured from different parts of the chicken, so they're not all white meat. Not at Wendy's. Our 99-cent chicken nuggets are always juicy pieces of all white meat. Part of Wendy's Super Value menu.
What if you put the best SUVs in the world all in one place? Let's see, you'd have the Toyota RAV4, Toyota Highlander, Toyota Sequoia, and the king of rugged, Toyota 4Runner. Proving it responds to the call of the wild and the call for safety, the 4Runner received the highest possible ranking in government side impact crash tests. And now 4Runner also comes with added protection for your wallet. $1,500 cash back. The Toyota 4Runner at your Toyota dealer.
There's only one way to spell blues. B.B. King. Lloyd's Barbecue Blues Music Festival. Jungle is back. Starring the legendary P.B. King. Also starring blues great Buddy Guy. But wait, you'll also hear Johnny Marshall, King Cotton, and Rick Lawler. September 27th, Tallahassee Leon County Civic Center. Get reserved seats at the Civic Center box office through Ticketmaster, church by phone, or online. The Lloyd's Barbecue Blues Music Festival.
Yes. Yes, sirree. Yep. Yes. Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Must be the Ford Model Year End Savings Event.
Yes.
This time of year, your Ford outfitters are saying yes to just about anything. Even a $298 a month, 24-month lease on a 2002 Explorer XLS 4x2 with $31.69 due at signing. Or get just announced 0% APR, so you pay no interest. Just hurry to your Southern Ford dealer now.
Dude, can I go out with your daughter?
I'll have a fresh salad, please.
Fresh salad.
Some places make salads that just sit around. Not Wendy's. Our 99-cent side salad and Caesar side salad are made fresh all day, every day.
Put it back.
They're part of Wendy's super value menu.
The damage from the terrorist attack is still spreading far and wide.
Yeah, I honestly had a feeling this was coming, but I didn't know much until the report came out today. You know, this past December, viewers of 27 Sports joined me via satellite from New York City in the Downtown Athletic Club, home of the Heisman Trophy. On the night, FSU quarterback Chris Weinke was honored as the Seminoles' second Heisman Trophy winner. No one could have possibly imagined what would take place 9 months later, just 3 blocks to the north. As a result of the September 11th terrorist attacks, the Downtown Athletic Club has sustained damage inside the building that may force the presentation to be moved. At this point, the Heisman's home is safe structurally, but the elevator system has been damaged by the force of the collapse of the Twin Towers at the World Trade Center. Heisman Trophy Executive Director says he'll know within 2 weeks whether an alternate site will be necessary. Well, going to Doak Campbell Stadium Saturday night, some tips. Don't expect to just breeze right in, and do expect everything you carry to be thoroughly searched. For obvious reasons, there will be increased security at all gates. The ban on coolers and umbrellas remains in effect simply because it's bad form to bring them. One more thing. Don't forget a thing. I'm not kidding. FSU police made it abundantly clear today that after entering the stadium, you may not leave and re-enter. Don't say I didn't warn you. Gates open at 5, parking lots open at 3. Well, if you listen to FSU head coach Bobby Bowden, Saturday's ball game came down to 2 very important plays. Early in the third, FSU leading 9-7. Stanford Samuels picks UNC's Darian Durant. Instead of 1st and 10 in Tar Heel territory, Samuels fumbles. The result, with the second chance on the drive, Durant chucks the ball deep. Malcolm Tatum goes down after getting his feet tangled, and it's UNC 14-7 on top. Second decisive play right here. Under 7 minutes left in the third, FSU trailing by 8. Chris Ricks to Javon Walker. Walker has 6. The Noles are within a 2-point conversion of tying the game, but a holding penalty brings it back. Hey, I know, it's painful to watch, but experts will tell you that you must confront the truth. The truth is, Saturday proved Preston's corollary to Murphy's Law. Murphy was an optimist.
Oh, yeah. In fact, we might have got them. You know, if we could have ever got that other touchdown and got them to lose their momentum, then they say, oh, heck, here comes Florida State again. Yeah, that's all you need in something like this. But we never could get it. And remember how cheap their touchdowns were. One of our guys falls down, leaves a guy all by himself. Next time we blow coverage, he's down there all by himself. You know, I wish we could have got a couple like that. And but that put them out where they wanted to be, and they were good enough that we simply couldn't catch them. Now, I could have held the score down. It'd be, 41-9? I could have held it down about 27 if I wanted to, but wouldn't have had a chance to win it, you know. So we just kept throwing, kept making mistakes, and they kept getting points.
Meanwhile, over at the football offices at Florida A&M, the man who always sees the glass half full, even when it's totally empty, is not stressing one bit. At least it doesn't look like he is. In fact, the days following the Rattlers' first loss of the year, head coach Billy Joe is impressed with the attitude of his team.
Guys are not distraught or depressed or in distress. Of course, they're disappointed, as well as everyone. But the fire is still there, and our ball players know that this is a brand new season now. We're going into the MEAC season, and we're leading the MEAC at this particular time. We are also the defending MEAC champions, and until someone dethrones us or we lose some MEAC games, we're on top.
I'm glad we woke up now instead of waking up later. When we lose a couple games in the MEAC, we don't have the season to be whole white.
And finally tonight, I want to express condolences to the family of Jay Cronin, who passed away yesterday after fighting leukemia. Jay was a great basketball official with the FHSAA and was athletic director at the new John Paul II Catholic High School here in Tallahassee. Jay Cronin was 32. That's it for sports.
Preston, thank you very much.
Prayers go out to the family.
Yes,
Yeah, we had Jennifer, wife, and his brother surviving, and again, keep them in your prayers.
We will. Thank you, Preston.
Well, there is a way that you can help prevent blindness. Learn how coming up in your Health Beat.
And allergies can be detrimental to the growth of your child's lungs. What doctors are doing for treatment next on ABC News Channel 27, where news is first.
And I can't believe I shanked that 3-iron.
I should have used a wood.
I don't guess you mean Osmos from Great Southern Wood, the lumber with a lifetime warranty. Where is that? There it is. I think I can get it close with a wedge.
Nah, I'm thinking 9-iron.
Oh, 4! So remember, if it doesn't say Osmos on the yellow tag, believe me, you don't want it.
I didn't want my children to fall through the cracks. My son is going down. He's making D's and F's. I thought I was failing. I saw the difference that the charter school made on my son. I was just so overwhelmed and rejoiced at the fact that I can have my son back. I have the opportunity to send him to a school that my son wants to go to.
In Florida, giving parents a choice gives children a chance. To join us, visit bayo.org.
The charter school has definitely changed his life.
Jared's always been an inspiration. Now it seems a lot of people are joining the team.
Feeling fine, it's a great time. We're a Subway family now. We love Jared, the Subway's taste. Come and join us, it's not too late.
Subway has 7 delicious sandwiches with just 6 grams of fat or less, including our new tasty honey mustard turkey with cucumber, with just 4 grams of fat.
The only thing that's missing is you. Subway, eat fresh.
Sheriff Campbell, little Abigail here has heart disease. This time last year, she had open heart surgery.
Tammy, people like Abigail that are the reason that you and I got involved with the American Heart Association's Heart Walk.
And you can get involved, too, to help fight our nation's #1 killer. Join us at this year's walk. It'll be at Southwood, Saturday, October the 6th. Call 878-3885 to sign up.
Who knows? You may help save someone like Abigail.
Your best idea yet, Larry.
One vitamin may actually do you more harm than good. Tammy has your Health Beat tonight to tell us which one we're talking about. Tammy.
Steve, large amounts of vitamin C can damage human cells. University of Florida researchers use supplements of vitamin C to treat people with muscle injuries. Instead of healing, the vitamins did damage. Experts say large quantities of vitamin C can damage DNA the same way water and oxygen can rust iron. Those with inflammatory injuries such as muscle sprains or diseases like arthritis may prove most at risk. The study suggests that until more research is done, people most at risk for high levels of iron in their bloodstream should consider limiting their vitamin C intake. Poor eyesight can be a major factor in poor schoolwork. That's the word from the group Prevent Blindness Florida. Today was Children's Vision Awareness Day to remind parents and teachers about how healthy vision can lead to success in the classroom.
Children feel like everybody sees as they do. They don't realize that they should be able to see better than they do. So this is one reason why it's so important to have children examined.
You can help the Prevent Blindness cause by checking the $1 voluntary box on your driver's license and car registration renewals. Just when allergy sufferers thought it was safe to go outside, ragweed season's hitting us now, and it's not just the adults who are suffering. Here's why you need to make sure your kids aren't suffering too.
Have allergies, it's a good bet your kids do too.
Allergies are hereditary, and in fact, if you have one parent who's allergic, your offspring have about a 25 to 50% chance of developing allergy.
Those odds go up if both parents have allergies, and Dr. Gottschalk says it's crucial to get proper treatment for your child because their young lungs are growing.
Anytime you have a child who's having symptoms that are interfering in their lifestyle, they're cranky, they're irritable, they don't sleep well, they're having frequent infections. because this can impact your child long term. It can impact his learning. It can impact his functioning and playing with other children.
The Follis family started looking for help when Matt started getting itchy, shiny allergy eyes along with bad headaches.
Then we took him to a neurologist, and the neurologist did diagnose migraines, prescribed medication for him, and then asked if he would get a physical from his pediatrician and be tested for allergies, which we did, and we did find out he had many environmental allergies.
I take Claritin daily. I'll take a medicine for my migraine, and then I take another medicine for a sinusitis that I have.
That combination, along with advice from his doctor, lets Matt hit the golf course with his parents, and that's nothing to sneeze at when allergies attack.
Dr. Gottschalk says one of the biggest problems for kids with allergies is that parents often rely on over-the-counter medicines to treat their symptoms. Allergies can make a child tired, and many over-the-counter antihistamines cause drowsiness, making that child cranky, and even a lot more tired than he already is. Steve?
All right, Tammy, thank you so much. We're going to check in with Tom Seiler next for a look at that wake-up forecast. And one form of Old Glory has taken to the streets. We'll take you there. Coming up next on ABC News Channel 27, where news is first.
Under the Roof Tips program with David Hanselman, president of Bracken Chase Builders. Today's tip is brought to you by Al Barano of E&B Heating and Air. We sell the best and fix the rest.
Hey, Al. Hey. Help me explain how E&B's Peak Performance program can save our viewers money on their utility and repair bills.
That's easy. Let's go take a look.
All right.
Well, just 1/100 of an inch of dirt or film on the coil can reduce the efficiency by 5%.
Well, if we look inside the unit at the evaporator coil, explain how E&B will check for dirt buildup.
With E&B's Peak Performance program, we check the entire system. If you look at the coil, dirt builds up because air filters only collect a portion of the particles in the air. Cleaning this will prevent compressor failure and enhance your level of comfort.
Also, it's important for customers to replace properly sized filters at least once a month.
That's always important.
Thanks, Al.
Thanks,
Remember,
Al.
if you want to save money on your utility and repair bills, have the professionals of E&B Heating and Air conduct a peak performance check for you. From Under the Roof Tips program, I'm David Hanselman, president of Bracken Chase Builders. See you next time.
Every day, Verizon Wireless connects more people in more places than any other wireless company, all on the country's largest wireless network. So you'll know that virtually anywhere you go, from the big cities to the small towns, your call goes through. Verizon Wireless. Join in.
Now get 1,500 more night and weekend home airtime minutes free every month.
Now, an anti-aging breakthrough. New Neutrogena Visibly Firm with active copper. Copper, a collagen-building mineral, is essential for firm skin, but diminishes with age. Neutrogena Visibly Firm replenishes copper. In 2 weeks, skin is firmer. Neutrogena Visibly Firm.
After 26 years of marriage, Tom and I realized that we're a little different from each other, except for one thing. Our doctor says we should both take a single 81 milligram St. Joseph aspirin, the dosage doctors recommend most for aspirin therapy.
Going to be chilly out there tomorrow morning, too?
It's chilly out there right now. Let's check our sky cam and see what's going on downtown on Monroe in Tennessee. Looking down from the DoubleTree Hotel, things are quiet, streets are dry, skies are clear, and it's 56 degrees. In the morning, as you go to work, maybe around 51, maybe only 48 or so, depending on where you live. 74 at noon, and we think enough sunshine to take us up to around 78 at 5 o'clock and another rain-free day.
Tom, thank you so much. Finally tonight, there is a new twist to a street in Tallahassee.
It's the Street of Patriots. People living in the Brookwood area are showing their patriotism to support those affected by the September 11th terrorist attacks. The street's decorated by an unbroken array of stars and stripes from end to end, as you see. Brookwood runs between Mahan and Miccosukee, 1 block east of Magnolia, if you want to head out and check it out.
People all over the capital city showing their patriotism.
All different kinds of different ways. We want to thank you very much for making us your choice for news. Next news, 6 a.m. with Rick Boone and Mike Rucker.
And we'll see you back here tomorrow evening. Nightline is headed your way next. You have a great night.
Bye-bye.
Introducing the next great cheap idea, Cheap Liberty.
full of innovations and legendary capability.
And now, your eyes are fine.
Nature has never seen anything quite like it. The two-wheel drive Jeep Liberty. Incredibly capable, surprisingly affordable.
Good morning, Tallahassee. The sun is coming up on more McDonald's values. Start your morning with a hearty sausage biscuit or a sausage McMuffin sandwich, both just 99 cents each. So get up with the sun and great breakfast values, too.
We love to see you smile.
Rise and shine, Tallahassee. McDonald's gives you 2 more reasons to get up and get moving with 99-cent bacon, egg, and cheese biscuits or a 99-cent sausage McMuffin with egg. So get up with the sun and great breakfast values, too.
We love to see you smile.
September 26th, 2001.
They used to be our friends.
ABC News has learned that a massive buildup of Soviet troops is taking place in Afghanistan, leading some to conclude that a Soviet invasion is underway.
They were our allies against the Soviet Union.
Those are freedom fighters. Those are people fighting for their own country.
Now they are the enemy.
By sponsoring and sheltering and supplying terrorists, by aiding and abetting murder, the Taliban regime is committing murder.
Tonight, targeting Afghanistan as America fights back.
From ABC News, this is Nightline. Substituting for Ted Koppel and reporting from Washington, Chris Bury.
The enemy of my enemy is my friend. That ancient Arab adage pretty well sums up the American relationship with Afghanistan. Back when the Russians invaded, the U.S. was happy to provide arms and money. When the Cold War ended, so did the American friendship. Now, of course, the Taliban support of Osama bin Laden has put Afghanistan in the American crosshairs. It also has the U.S. sorting out enemies and friends all over again. Today, for example, the White House sided with Russia in a big way. It demanded that rebel leaders in Chechnya, long a thorn in Russia's side, cut all ties to terrorists, including bin Laden. The move is widely seen as a diplomatic thank you for Russian President Vladimir Putin, who has promised broad support in the U.S. war on terrorism. In other developments today, ABC News has learned a suspect arrested in Dubai has disclosed plans for terrorist attacks across Europe later this year. The alleged targets include the American Embassy in Paris, the U.S. Consulate in Marseille, and the NATO headquarters in Belgium. President Bush is set to announce new air safety measures, including stronger cockpit doors and sky marshals, but not permission for pilots to carry guns. The government of Iran, Afghanistan's neighbor to the west, ruled out any help in a U.S.-led attack. The leader of the Taliban, Mullah Mohammed Omar, asked thousands of fleeing refugees to return home, saying he sees less likelihood of a U.S. attack. In Kabul, the capital of Afghanistan, a protest outside the deserted American embassy turned ugly and violent. These scenes, broadcast live on the Al Jazeera network throughout the Middle East, show how the protest escalated. At first, demonstrators, mainly students and government officers, simply threw stones at the walled compound. American diplomats left the embassy in 1989, but a local maintenance staff remained, and strictly speaking, the compound is still U.S. sovereign territory. Even the Taliban government had respected that diplomatic status until today. Police made no effort to restrain the demonstrators. They scaled the walls of the compound and set fires to abandoned cars inside. Taliban fighters used a crowbar and hammer to rip off the United States seal that remained hanging from the pillars of the building. By the time camera crews were forced some distance away from the scene, a thick plume of smoke rose from what was left of the embassy compound. The former embassy is a relic of a warmer American relationship with Afghanistan during the Cold War. Back then, the United States supplied arms to Afghan rebels. It was called a proxy war, that is, a way for the U.S. to engage the Soviets militarily without resorting to nuclear weapons. And as Nightline's John Donvan reports, the ghosts of that proxy war are coming back to haunt us now. "21 years ago, in July of 1980, even as the Cold War raged, the Olympic Games were played in Moscow. And for all the races won and all the medals given, the real story of these Moscow Games was how the U.S. team did not show up to play. The Americans stayed home, and so did the athletes of 44 other nations. And it was all because of what had just happened in a place called Afghanistan.
The president of Afghanistan was overthrown in a Soviet-backed coup today, then tried and promptly executed.
The Soviet army had invaded to prop up a communist government in Kabul that had only recently taken power and was now in danger of falling. Overnight, the Afghan people gained America's sympathy when they became refugees and America's admiration when they fought back.
I think they're freedom fighters, not rebels.
A U.S. president would pay them one of his highest compliments.
On behalf of the American people, I salute Chairman Khalis, his delegation, and the people of Afghanistan themselves. You are a nation of heroes. God bless you.
In reality, most Americans knew practically nothing about who the Afghan people were, or their history, or their ways. But that didn't matter back then. What mattered to the U.S. was who the invaders were, the Soviets, and how to make trouble for them in Afghanistan.
I'll ask you to just accept that the Soviet Union was an evil empire.
Frank Anderson headed the CIA's Afghan task force in the 1980s.
The opportunity was a strategic one. It was to inflict a defeat on the Red Army and thereby inflict a serious defeat on the Soviet Union.
The first steps the United States took in response were largely symbolic, like boycotting the Olympics and canceling some huge grain sales to the Soviets and condemning the invasion in the United Nations. But then people here in Washington began to notice that the Afghan people were actually putting up a fight. It was a desperate struggle. They were losing to superior Soviet weaponry, helicopters, tanks. And yet they kept on fighting. And in Washington, it was like a light bulb went on. Former Representative Charles Wilson would become the leading voice in Congress for arming the Afghan fighters.
The Soviets were taking casualties from stones and knives and old World War I rifles. If they had made the decision to fight, that it was just obscene to let them sell their lives too cheaply, and we must help them.
Aid money flowed from Congress through the CIA into the hands of the Afghan fighters in the form of weapons and training. Gradually, the Soviets bogged down, and a long history began to repeat itself. The terrain of Afghanistan has always come to its defense. In the 19th century, the invading British were massacred by poorly equipped Afghan fighters who knew the terrain and how to use it to advantage. The British were driven out. In the 1980s, no one expected that the Afghans could do it again.
Did you ever in a million years think that the Afghan fighters would defeat the Red Army?
Not at first.
But that was not taking into account what drove these fighters on. They were, most of them, devoutly religious Muslims, what the West calls fundamentalist. They were joined from around the Muslim world by others who saw the fight against the Soviets as a holy war against atheists. They included a Saudi millionaire's son named Osama bin Laden, who, it is said, fought little but spent freely on humanitarian aid. They called themselves Mujahideen, which comes from the word jihad, struggle, often used to mean holy war. That the U.S. was putting weapons into the hands of people who were fundamentalists, many of them anti-Western and anti-U.S., was considered less important than making the Soviets bleed.
But the agency and the Pakistani agencies that determined who got the weapons based their decisions on who was causing the most damage to the Russians.
So it wasn't who was America's friend, it was more who's the Russians' worst enemy.
That's exactly right. It was who was, to put it bluntly, it was who was killing the most Russian soldiers. And the more fundamentalist Islamic fighters seemed to be the ones that were the fiercest and the most willing to die.
By 1986, millions of Afghans were living in refugee camps in Pakistan next door. Hundreds of thousands of Afghan citizens had been killed. Thousands of Soviets had been killed or wounded. But the Soviets were not leaving. It was a bloody stalemate. Then the Stinger missiles arrived, and everything changed. Made in the United States, they could be carried by one soldier, and they were capable of bringing down an aircraft by zeroing in on heat from its engines.
Well, the Stingers, once President Reagan made that very difficult decision, the Russians had lost the war.
How quickly after the Stingers were introduced did the tide of the war change?
On September the 26th of 1986, 4 Hind helicopters came in to land in Jalalabad, and the Moj shot down 3 of them. And from then on, it was 1 or 2 a day.
It wasn't over right away. The war had more years to run yet. But the Afghan men who received their weapons from Washington and their strength from Allah had turned the tide in America's proxy war and their holy war.
So America had a huge stake in Afghanistan during that holy war, but the friendship proved fleeting. That in part 2 of John Donvan's report when we come back.
The Heartburn Hotel. If you suffer persistent heartburn 2 days a week or more, despite diet change and treatment, it may be acid reflux disease. Prescription Prevacid can mean 24-hour relief from acid reflux disease. Prevacid turns off tiny pumps that produce acid. It has a low occurrence of side effects, such as diarrhea, abdominal pain, and nausea. Ask your doctor if Prevacid is right for you.
So leave your heartburn behind, yeah! It's been 1 week since you looked at me, 'cause you heard of the silence I'm angry. 5 days since you laughed at me, saying that you never come back and see me. Yesterday, you've forgiven me, but it'll still be too late till I say I'm sorry. Like vanilla, it's the finest of the flavors. Gotta see the show, 'cause then you'll know the cargo goers at my door. It's no banger, it's your life to sign a waiver. I have a tendency to wear my mind up my sleeve. It's been 1 week since you looked at me, dropped your eyes to the side and said I'm sorry.
Thursday, chilling details from inside bin Laden's secret training camps. For months, he trained to be a bin Laden operative. Thursday, what he tells primetime will shock you.
Dogs hit the track, you just can't keep from cheering. J.C. Casey Jefferson County Kennel Club in Monticello, Florida. We're having a party every Monday through Saturday night at 7:30, plus Saturday matinees at noon. J.C. Casey is more than just exciting greyhound racing.